After the very first takedown, we turned around and quickly headed back to the command center, and what I saw there was nothing short of mind-boggling. These agents were using some serious high-tech gadgetry to track down these criminal illegal aliens. I have to say, what I've seen is a far cry from what you may be hearing on the news. And that's why I wanted to go and see this from the inside out. And I can tell you I was not restricted in any way. I was able to walk into any meeting. We were able to listen in on any conversations. I was not aware of any secret meetings going on or anything that I was directed or shuffled away from. I've been reporting back to our team at Merit TV to set the record straight. I'm in a command center in Chicago, and I'm here with Tom Holman and some team members we're going to introduce here in just a second. And we're in the command center because we've actually got two very dangerous situations that are happening simultaneously, and kind of one surges ahead of the other, and then we're not sure which one's going down first. So we're kind of on pins and needles right now because they're very dangerous situations. So we're monitoring those and going back and forth. And Mr. Holman, tell us what we're looking at here on this map and what these targets represent here.
Well, look, as we discussed earlier, we want to show the American people this is a targeted enforcement operation, right? It's not the sweeping of the neighborhoods. It's not looking for people different than us. Every person we look for, we know who they are. We know what their immigration record is. We know what their criminal record is. We know pretty much where we're going to find them. So hundreds and hundreds of hours of investigative work go into this. So I'll let the special agent in charge explain exactly how they cut this scheme up. Can you explain basically what you're looking at here?
Yeah, Special Agent Fitzgerald, and I want to preface this by saying we've been out today and we've been around this grid in cars with the agents. We've taken footage of your brave men and women going and taking some of these targets into custody. We've got others that are in their houses now waiting for warrants. We know where they are. And there's a lot of investigative work that goes in to what's represented by each of these marks here. Can you tell us what these are, Special Agent, so people know how much work has gone in? This isn't a sweep. This is surgical, tactical targeting of high-risk targets.
Absolutely. So let's start with what was the mission. From the beginning, Mr. Holman came out and has identified there's 1.4 million criminal aliens with an order of removal in the country. So what we did, HSI, ICE, ERO, all combined together to take that initial data and try to figure out how many exactly are in Chicago. What you see here is a representation of over 300 different criminal aliens with some type of criminal conviction: murder, rape, assault, weapons charges, narcotics charges, aggravated DUIs. Every color and symbol signifies something different. Some of these symbols mean only a special response team can hit because that person has such a high level of threat that we need a specialized unit with specialized equipment to actually arrive on scene and secure it. Other symbols mean we can send out a joint team. And today, we're out here with all the DHS entities, all the DOJ entities, and we're separating all throughout the city and trying to grab as many targets as possible.
Yeah, and when we say grab as many targets as possible, what we're talking about is taking dangerous people out of the community, which makes the community safer when those people are taken out of that community, right?
Absolutely.
So you've got, because today, I think the first two were child predators. They had been convicted of child sexual assaults, and they're walking around in the community.
Look, I think we got 6 or 7 sexual predators. We got 2 murderers. We got a lot of TDA gang members. So yeah, every one of these are public safety threat, walking the streets of Chicago because we're in a sanctuary city. And the men and women of ICE cannot grab these guys in a county jail when they're released. They're released back in the community, which forces us to spend hundreds and hundreds of hours of investigative work to find them.
Right. And when we rolled up on some of these, there were like 5 or 6 cars, multiple agents in each car, some on the perimeters, making sure that everybody was safe. So even then, there were multiple agents, and some of these were multiple hours, making sure everybody was safe, make sure the neighbors were safe, and make sure that the target was safe.
Right.
Every one of these targets, there's a whole packet that has to go into it. You can't just do this in an hour or in a day. You have to deconflict through dozens and dozens of systems, through multiple agency deconflictions, in order to get to a point where we know with confidence this is who the person is, this is where they were last seen, and we feel that we can go in and make the arrest.
Right. And when some of these people have been arrested or in jail, you're not even asking to go into jail. You just want to know when they're going to be released, so you can stand on a curb and take them when they're released.
We would love to get in jail and process them while they're in their custody, so as soon as they release them, we can take them, get rid of them, right?
Yeah.
But at least call us before you release them. We'll be waiting outside for them. Let's take them in custody. 1 agent, 1 bad guy. Today, you're seeing 8 agents, 1 bad guy. A lot less efficient, a lot less time, and major thing, it's more dangerous. You're releasing a public safety threat back into the public. Yeah. Not a genius thing to do.
No,
when we can fix
not. And let's look at this context. There's over 300 locations. That could have been 1 location.
Yeah.
It could have been just at the jail.
Yeah, just at the jail.
Just at the jail. We wouldn't have to impact 300 communities at that moment.
You know, and Chris, when we were riding around today, we were listening. Tom and I were listening in the car to cable news networks talking about how this was just kind of a random sweep, that they were going to schools, they were going into businesses. And I'm here on the ground with this team. That ain't happening. I'm telling you, that ain't happening. So they can talk about what they want people to believe. They can fearmonger if they want, but this is what's happening. Targeted, surgical, investigative work done to go in and get an individual.
What I'd like to ask you about, Dr. Phil, is just this idea of politics versus public safety. And what I mean by that is January 15th, the city council in Chicago, 11 aldermen, which is what they call their city council members there, 11 aldermen said, yes, our local police department should be working with their counterparts at the federal level. Yes, they should. But overwhelmingly, 39 voted no. What message does that send to you, Dr. Phil?
Well, straight up, are you going into schools and arresting children at schools?
No.
Is anything like that happening?
No, sir.
Are you going into businesses and sweeping through there and seeing where they're from?
We go into businesses for a criminal enforcement operation, but again, sweeps don't occur anywhere.
The sweeps are not occurring. You're just not going in like seining for fish in a pond and just picking up. You're going targeted. If a criminal is working in a business and you have to pick them up there, you're going in for that target.
Absolutely.
And what's happening to me, it seems that these politicians are creating what they fear the most, and that is forcing ICE agents into the community where they pick up the target and wind up picking up collaterals that may be around them, as opposed to going to the jail where they just get the target and leave.
That's the game they want to play, and so, game on. We're going to do it. I mean, it's all about public safety. We're going to take that public safety threat off the street by any means necessary. If we can't get in the jail, then we'll go in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and Chris, look, we've got 2 very high-risk apprehensions that are going down within minutes. I can tell you that these are bad actors that are doing things that are immediate, instant danger to anyone around them. I'm not going to say what they are right now, because even describing it could be tipping off who we're talking about. And if they happen to be watching this, or somebody they know is watching this, could pick up the phone and call them and put agents' lives in more danger than they already are.
That's right.
That's why we're being very careful. That's why we're asking all of you in the control room to process these videos and blur the faces of the brave men and women that are doing what they're doing, because we don't want them harassed and targeted after the fact. And that has and does happen. So we're being very careful to protect everybody out there. $36 trillion. That is the U.S. debt, and it gets deeper and deeper by the day. Our debt has never been higher, nor have the stakes. The government is looking to slash the federal budget by $2 trillion, and no one knows what that will mean for your job, savings, and future. I've seen a lot in my time, and there's one thing I know for sure. You need to prepare before it's too late. I trust Preserve Gold to help protect my wealth, and I strongly urge you to do the same. They are the only precious metals firm I trust and recommend to my family, friends, and audience, and they have a special offer just for you. Text Dr. Phil to 50505 to get your free precious metals guide from Preserve Gold. With gold prices recently breaking records and analysts predicting this trend to continue throughout 2025, you cannot afford to wait. As a bonus, you can get up to $15,000 with a qualified purchase from Preserve Gold. So don't wait. Text Dr. Phil to 50505 today. There's 270 current targets. Every one of them are dangerous criminals. Every one of them have a violent rap sheets, and they're being targeted. Think about it. If those 270 people are gone from these communities, how much safer these communities are if those people are gone. Who in their right mind could argue with that? So they can't. So what they have to do is create a false narrative that you're just in here sweeping people out off the streets that aren't committing crimes. Of course, there's a crime of being here illegally, but you're doing worst first.
Worst first. We're focused on criminals, public safety threats, national security threat first. And that just makes sense. They're the biggest dangers of communities. We'll deal with them first.
All right, we're making another arrest right now. This is illegal alien that's been arrested for DUI with a fatality.
And this guy is from where?
India.
India. Here illegally?
Yeah.
But he's here illegally right now.
Yeah. Yep. Here
He's convicted of DUI with fatality.
correct.
So the question is, why is he still here?
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. It's unbelievable. And they go to the door and they're on the other side and they know it and they don't open the door because they've been told, don't open the door.
We gotta get these laws fixed so these guys can work.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be able to do this.
And look at all the people that it takes to do it. Now, nationwide on Sunday, ICE reports making 956 arrests, not just on that day. And in Chicago, they have targeted close to 300 of these violent criminals that I think anybody would agree you don't want in your community. These agents are laser focused on taking into custody sex traffickers, gang members, or other hardened criminal illegal aliens who've been hiding in plain sight. I wanted to see this for myself so I could report it as factually and with firsthand knowledge as possible.
Dr. Phil, you know, one of the things that I think we've hit on, and I think we should kind of dive in more, is that this isn't willy-nilly, right? Hundreds of hours have gone into the planning, the research, the creating files, knowing the people's names and where they live. And I think that it's lost, it's overlooked, or purposefully it's being left out of a lot of reporting.
Well, you know, this idea that they're just going in and sweeping neighborhoods, it's just absurd, because that would be reckless. It would be counterproductive. It would put agents' lives in danger. It would put the targets in danger, and it would put the collaterals around them in danger, people that don't have anything to do with it in danger. That's not how this is going down. I don't know what has people so energized in talking about that. And I wouldn't keep being so dogmatically repetitive about this if I wasn't here and talking to ATF and DEA and HSI, which is Homeland Security Investigative, and the U.S. Marshal Service, FBI. I've talked to each of these government agencies today, and every one of them say the same thing: is we're professionals. We're trained in these techniques. We're trained in how to do investigations. We're trained in how to make arrests in proper ways, and they're just as concerned about the safety of the people they're arresting as they are all the people around them and their own agents. They're not going in there trying to just kick down doors like some cowboys and put people's lives at risk. That is not at all the attitude of these people.
Dr. Phil, these were two very dangerous, high-level targets today with Tom Homan. Were there other groups around Chicago that went out, other ICE agents that went out? And if there were at the same time, how many?
Well, there were there were different teams today. People were broken up into different teams into different parts of Chicago. And I think there were well over 100 agents, and some of the teams were as small as 5 or 6. Some of them were 10 or 12.
We watched the first takedown that you were a part of was a 42-year-old Thailand national, Seda Soma. We're looking at his picture here on the screen right now, and his order of removal was November 3rd of 2009, right? You know, I know, our viewers know, it's 2025, and this guy is heading back now, but he seemed almost cavalier about it. And when you were talking to him, he's been in this country long enough to know who you were.
Yeah, really proud of that fact. But I hope that's not my typical audience. But, look, the truth is, this is a good example. We know when it comes to sexual predators that they have multiple victims before they're arrested, detained, and taken off the streets and imprisoned. They have multiple victims. Sometimes it's double digits. It can be 25, it can be 40. It depends on how old they are, how many targets they're exposed to. And so this person, we know, has been on the streets for over a decade. So how many victims has he had in the United States where he doesn't even have the right to be because nobody raised their hand and let ICE know that he was in detention so they could meet him and take him out of the United States when they could have met him at the curb and put him right in the process and deported him legally and safely at the time. Instead, he's been on the streets.
One of the things that we should highlight is, you are the one who connected Tom Homan and Mayor Eric Adams in New York City, right? You told us about it live here on Dr. Phil's Merit TV. You're sitting at the airport and you're taxiing away and you said, whoa, stop, pull the plane over and let me get these two on the phone. What does it take to get a governor like J.B. Pritzker to bury the hatchet, move past partisan politics, and take up the idea of public safety, right? Because I think you're right. If people would just take the time to listen and fully understand, oh, wait a minute, this is a tactical, very precise approach to what they're doing. Oh, wait, they are going after people I don't want on the street. The problem is it's getting both people to the table.
I think that a lot of people can do that, and I've been fortunate enough to do it in a few situations. But look, I don't have the privilege of knowing Governor Pritzker, but I can tell you this. Everything I do know about him is I believe he is a good man. I believe he has spent a lot of his life in public service, and you don't do that to get rich. You don't do that because you don't care about people and what you're doing. And I have to believe that he has to be a good man with a good heart. And I think it's just a matter of getting the right information to him at the right time. And if I had the privilege of sitting down with him, I, of course, would do it and engage him with dignity and respect and look for an opportunity to learn from his point of view and hope to share mine and let him know what I've learned from ICE the inside out. I am very pro-immigration. Listen, we need immigrants in this country. There are some things afoot right now that I think will be made public very soon that I think are going to be a great boon to immigration from this current administration. And I can't talk about them right now, but I think people are going to see that this administration, Tom Homan, President Trump, value immigrants in this country. We need immigration. We need them in the workforce. We need their creativity. We need their contribution to this society, the fabric of this society. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And part of it we have to own. When it takes 7 to 10 years to get a court date, so you can do this right through the immigration court, man, we have to do better. We have to do better than that. So we've got to own some of this problem as well. I don't care how flat you make a pancake, it's got two sides, and that's one side of it. Is very frustrating to try to get this done in the right way. But I think that's going to change.